So it's been pretty darn frustrating, and you know, we had a lot of help from SCAG initially. We had a lot of staff would show up, and then the people that were supposed to be meeting weren't there. We had a person assigned to it from SCAG that was very, very helpful. Unfortunately, when SCAG came up with a lot of budget shortfalls, she was one of the last hired, and so one of the first fired, and so we lost that asset. I really think that if we want to get the momentum back, that this body that meets regularly, we were talking about doing this. We've got to get some momentum back. We've been talking about this for 5 or 6 years now, and moving it to having the electeds actually try to put the fine points together. It wasn't getting there, and I think it's it really ought to be incumbent on this group to either take it up at our regular meetings, or meet afterwards, or have this group meet separately to get this done. Other than that, you know, one of the steps that we maybe ought to be talking about right away is not to keep going on and on. We're still one of the only regions in the state that isn't even an officially recognized county transportation commission or a legislative regional transportation planning agency. And apparently all we need to do is have IVAG part of a bill next year become at least the Regional Transportation Commission, get the ball rolling, and then start finding a way to have an independently funded IVAG that has its own staff, borrowed staff from the county, and start tackling a lot of this kind of program that we heard today, and a lot of other opportunities that we're not getting to. So I don't know whether that needs to be an agenda item for a future meeting or what, but we've got to start moving in that direction. Another thing I wanted to bring up just as information is, we've enough to go around, for anyone that's interested, Filner's office sent us a note that there was an opportunity, kind of because of the fuss that mostly people from Calexico and the county had been making back in Washington and in other places about what these lines are doing in terms of the economy and the environment and so on at the border. There was an opportunity to come up with some innovative plans to start moving traffic at the border. And so Caltrans and IVAG got together, and Caltrans hired a consultant, and over a matter of a couple of weeks, we put together a suggestion that will take some of the land that Caltrans owns at the east port of entry, Calexico East, and try to get some funding assistance to build 4 or 6 new lanes, and to fund those lanes, we'll have to go to the legislature and get authority to toll, and these will be congestion priced. So that the longer the lines become, you pay whatever the price is, sort of like Highway 91 in Orange County, Orange and Riverside. The worse the traffic gets, the higher it costs to beat the traffic by taking the toll lane. And of course that benefits everybody, because it takes all of the people who are paying out of the other lines. So all the lines get shortened. But anyhow, we've got that proposal in. It's going to probably need some legislative support, but there is a bill moving that will set up an authority inside the Treasurer's office that we would be able to use basically to sell revenue bonds on this kind of project. We still will need some funding on the Mexican side to get some of the approaches going, and next week I'm going to talk to NADBank. It's something they haven't done yet. NADBank and Beck, they've been doing a lot of water projects and some other cleanup stuff, but this is transportation infrastructure that has a direct bearing on the air pollution in the border communities, and so we're going to make the pitch. We're not the first ones that are doing this. Jerry Santillan told me that San Luis is doing the same thing right now. They're already in front of Beck with a proposal to get some grant money to put in some infrastructure for additional lanes over on the below units at San Luis Rio, Colorado. So it's something that probably the time has come. We've got to start looking at it here. We're lucky in that Caltrans already has the real estate. They knew that the border crossing that was envisioned by GSA wasn't going to be big enough, and so fortunately they didn't surplus out any of the extra land or anything, but they kept it. It's available for expansion, and this may be the opportunity. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. It's a long shot. They're only going to fund a few of these projects, and I'm sure every community along the border, when they saw this availability, they came up with something. We also have an element in it that would, it's an intelligent transportation design element that would study how to get better information at the commitment points when you're in Mexicali at various places and you need to decide whether you're going to cross at the East Port or the downtown port. A lot of times you hear on the radio there's an hour to an hour and 20 minutes difference. There'll be a huge line at downtown Calexico, and you'll hear it's only 15 minutes on the east side. But people don't get that information until they're locked into the line. So they need to have that information at places like way down by Costco on the south end of town. And it needs to be good information, not this hour-old information that comes from the people at the port of entry that really don't want to advertise how long the lines are, because that gets the attention of people in Washington, so they fudge a little bit, so we're not even getting good information. So anyhow, that's another element of this, and they could fund just part of it, they could fund all of it. So, but it's at least the first opportunity we have to take a bite at shortening those lines. And do you want to do this free, or is Lou going to do that? There's an update. We just put that on the.
Before we move on, let me go back to your first topic, the ad hoc committee updates on the conflict recognition. In our city manager's annual retreat, we spent the morning discussing that along with Gary Gallegos from San Diego, Sandag, talk about what are the possibilities. So there was somewhat of a wouldn't go as far as saying blueprint, but at least a thought pattern by all the city managers that were there about what the advantages are. So at least there was a good educational background on that. And I felt that there was some enthusiasm and that perhaps we would be able to take it up again and perhaps develop some kind of action steps and timelines and seeing how we can do that. And I do applaud the effort, but I think that it is time, and you've recognized in the last 5 years that there seems to be very little being done towards that. And I think after that presentation that there's a lot of money that Sandag has been getting just because of the recognition of the cause and even the transportation committee. So
we had a lot of momentum going, I think, when this group was discussing it, and then I think we've had about 18 months that it's kind of